Hi everybody, I'm Justin from BestProducts.com. We're here today with Nick Larson. He's the founder of Charge Bikes, and we were just thinking, we're creeping up on back to school, and there's a lot of people that are, starting to commute by bicycle, and we thought we'd get a little bit of a history lesson on what Charge is all about, and also kind of talk about the ins and outs of shopping for your first new bike. So, Nick, thank you so much for being here.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. So you founded Charge Bikes about 10 years ago now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What was the idea behind it? What was the impetus behind firing up your own bicycle brand, and
Well,
how did it all come to that?
Yeah. Well, I've been designing bikes. I've been in the bike industry for 20 years now.
Okay.
So I'm an enthusiastic bike rider, and love bikes. And then about 10 years ago, cycling became a lot more popular, and I was working for a bike company. But one of the things that I noticed specifically was that buying a bike was quite a difficult purchasing decision for non-cyclists, so someone that's like new to cycling.
Yeah.
And going into a bike shop's quite an intimidating experience.
It can be pretty overwhelming. Yeah.
And it's a bit like going into a cool record store or something, and it's not particularly easy to know which bike suits your needs the best.
Yeah.
And so what I wanted to do with Charge was to try to create a really good line of products that attracted new cyclists
Okay.
to cycling, and also had really cool products at the high end for the enthusiasts, so that we were well respected in the bike shops.
Okay.
But try to make it a lot simpler purchasing decision to know which bike suited your needs the best.
For sure. So you kind of create a product line where someone comes in new and then can kind of grow over time, rather than reaching a certain tipping point, but now I need to switch brand or.
Yeah, and it's also important. It was really important to me that we made quality bikes, but I knew that the hardest bikes to design were the ones at the opening price point, so the ones at the cheapest price points. And so we spend a lot more time working on them to make them really amazing products, because it's quite easy. Anyone can design a really cool $10,000 bike.
Yeah.
But making a bike that's more affordable is important. And then the other important thing for Charge is that we try to break down the types of cycling, the categories of cycling, into really three simple purchasing decisions.
Okay.
So that's whether you ride on the road, whether you ride off the road, and whether you're more performance orientated, and we're breaking it down into those categories. And obviously we do kids bikes as well, but so it's really 4 categories, but it's really simple to know which ones kind of suit your needs the best and what you need when you start cycling. That's the idea behind Charge.
Okay. Really cool. And the move to the U.S. market is fairly recent, right?
Yeah, we've been in the US market for about 3 or 4 years now, but not an area that we've been pushing super hard, because we've been trying to keep up with the demand in the UK and in Japan and other key markets. But it is an area where we think cycling is obviously on the up, and something that we want to sort of grow here. So yeah, we're putting a big effort into the US market.
For sure, and like you say, in the last while, you can keep seeing cycling grow and grow as both as a mode of transportation, as a sport for people. So getting the bikes out there here is a really good idea. So I'm the first to admit, I bike around now. I do the whole city bike thing in New York just because it's super convenient. I used to ride a bike as a kid, but if I was walking into a bike shop, what are the key things that I should really be looking at, say in that more affordable, sub 1,000-ish kind of price range?
Well, sub 1,000-ish gets you an amazing bike.
Yeah. And we can ratchet down lower than that.
I think we go much, even half the price of that is on entry-level bikes. But the most important thing to start with is to decide what type of cycling you do, where you want to ride your bike, whether you're doing it for fitness or whether you're doing it for commuting purposes, and then it's to decide what you're going to be doing, and then obviously what your budget is. So $1,000 gets you an amazing bike. Yeah. And in fact, I would say above $1,000, it starts to become difficult to distinguish the benefits between $1,000 and $2,000 and $3,000. But below those price points, so $500, you're really talking about what types of gears you've got and what type of terrain you ride on. So our bikes are divided into 3 simple categories. One is off-road, which is all cookers, so it's mountain bikes, as you would know it, but we call it off-road, and they've got big, thick, chunky tyres, shock absorbing, would be good in certain people's commute potholed streets. They still ride. It's still like a cool bike to ride on the street. Still rolls fast. And then we have the Plug, which is our road bike. So they have drop handlebars. They're a lot faster positioned, and they're obviously designed to be a road bike. But our bikes come with wider tyres, and so it's more kind of comfortable. And it's a more upright riding position than a full-on performance road bike.
Okay.
And then we do an urban bike, which is called the Greater, and that's much more utilitarian, which is this bike, and it comes with fenders, flat handlebars, so you're upright riding in the traffic, so you can see everything.
Yeah.
So basically, it's broken down into these three simple categories, which is road, off-road, and urban.
Yeah.
And that's how we break it down, and that's the choices. And then really, the next decision is what your budget is, and your budget is really based on how light the bike is going to be. And how many gears and how adaptable the bike's going to be. And it's really that simple. The more you pay, the more you get.
Fair enough. I noticed this is the Greater, and like is this kind of like the entry tier for?
It's one above the entry tier. It's one above the entry tier. So it's the first bike in this range has one gear.
Okay.
So it's really low maintenance, really simple. But obviously, if you live in a hilly place, you probably need some gears.
Fair enough.
So it depends what your ride is like and where you think you're going to ride.
Okay.
We do still sell a lot of single speed bikes because they're easy to use, they're easy to maintain, and they're obviously relatively cheap. So so that makes a huge difference. This one obviously comes with gears. So this is 20 speed, and it comes with disc brakes, which is much more powerful in bad conditions.
I was going to say that's one thing that I noticed. I mean, it feels like it went from like very uncommon to being everywhere over the last it kind of in that same window like about the 10 years ago.
Yeah.
When everyone was cycling more.
It became more affordable. The technology, as it gets developed, becomes more affordable. So it's a much more practical thing to use now.
Yeah.
And it lasts a lot longer, and it works in all conditions. So it's not affected by the wet or even in the cold. They work really well as well.
That's good to know. And actually, I've always been kind of curious about that. With the pads for disc brakes on bicycles, like what's the kind of lifespan?
It depends what conditions you're riding in. If it's gritty and dirty and wet all the time, then they wear quicker. But they're a lot longer lifespan than a pair of traditional brake pads that were on the rims.
Yeah.
Because it comes into contact with less dirt, less stuff. And the advantage of disc brakes is that you need a lot less pulling power to actually stop the bike. So they're actually very efficient as well.
True. I'm trying to think what else we have as a talking point on the.
How is the weight on the bike?
How is the weight?
The weight, yeah, for.
So they start at an opening price point. So around the $500 price point area, they start at about £25, and then they, depending on whether they get gears on them or not, they become a little bit heavier if they've got some gears on, and then as you get higher up, they obviously get lighter and lighter. And when you get to our top tier bikes, the titanium bikes at the highest price points, they're all kind of around £20 in weight, so really light.
Okay.
And we use things like really simple. I mean, basically, this is an aluminum frame, as you call it here. And some of the bikes come with carbon forks. Everything on here is designed to be low maintenance, easy to use, simple to understand, and the position of the bike's very upright. So so it's very kind of upright in traffic. You can see where you're going.
Yeah.
It obviously has the fenders on it as standard, and comes with quite skinny tyres, which is obviously making this a really quick bike to ride as well.
Yeah.
Really swift.
And I was noticing, was it the tire on the front? It's like something that's like puncture resistant.
Yeah, so we have puncture resistant tyres. That's really important. We're trying to make it really something that's easy to use, and you're not going to have the least amount of problems. And with an urban bike like this, which is what I was saying, is about utility and making it really simple. You stay clean, and you have not too many problems. We've got slightly heavier weight tyres, but they're less susceptible to punctures.
Exactly. So the last thing you want to do is say you're commuting into work and halfway there, okay, you've got a nail in the tire, you're carrying the thing the rest of the way, or trying to wedge it into the back of a cab, which is never a good thing.
So really with this, when you buy this bike, you really only need, obviously buy yourself a helmet, probably get a pump, and maybe a simple tool, and you can pretty much look after most of it yourself. And then obviously needs to go back to the store if it's going to have a more major service, but they're fairly simple and easy to use.
Well,
And the idea is it's an unintimidating purchase, so we want to try and make it a bit simpler to understand which bike you need. So we haven't got tons and tons of different platforms and different sort of specialist areas. They're really simple, these three simple categories.
So like when you're talking about like this model having the different gears, it's not like you'll walk in and go, oh well, we have this bike, but we have it in a 15 and a 20 and a, like with all the different speeds. It's just like this is.
Yeah, this is basically we have a single speed bike. Yeah. And then we have in this range we have 2 geared bikes, and then the very highest level one has a hub gear bike. So it's all the gears are inside the hub.
Okay.
And that's really low maintenance. Requires very little returning back to the bike shop. And everything's enclosed within that hub, so it doesn't need any kind of oiling or looking after, and that really it signifies the top tier of this bike because it's super utilitarian, low maintenance. Very important.
Actually, on the topic of maintenance, what's kind of like a more common interval? Say if someone's using their bike, a handful of times a week, or maybe 5 days a week. Like, is it the kind of thing where you bring it in, the beginning of the season each year to have it like a quick once over, or?
Again, it depends whether you're riding in every condition. If you're only riding in fair weather, I would say 6 months at a time is plenty. Yeah. But and obviously, if there's some problems or things aren't working right, then you need to change. And then it obviously also depends on the type of bike you bought. So the more complicated it is, the more gears it's got, the more maintenance it needs.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Well,
and I'm wondering, what is that for a design feature, an add-on, the little studs down there, right here?
This is where you put a water bottle on. Ooh. So you can put water bottles here, that's here as well, and you could also add like a toolkit or a pump, something like that can go on there. So so that's what they're for.
Oh, so you can add 2 water bottles at the same time?
Yeah, you can have 2 water bottles on there at the same time.
Stay hydrated.
And I also noticed on the handlebars you've got like indicators for, I guess, to be able to adjust the angle of
that adjusts
where
the
bars
angle.
sit.
Yeah, so that's really important. The position of the handlebars suits what you're feeling like, and then we have these really thick silicone grips made by another one of our brands that we work on called Fabric, and these are grips. They're made of silicone rubber, so they're not standard what you'd normally get on a bike, and they're amazingly shock absorbing, and also they're grippy whether your palms are sweaty or it's raining, so they're grippy when they're wet as well. Okay. Which is really an important feature.
Yeah. I've got to admit, like a good set of grips goes a long ways. It's when I was mentioning the city bikes earlier, one of the banes of my existence whenever I hop on those is these worn out, dirty grips that I'll ride for 20 minutes and then look at my hands and it's these black streaks across. So good grips go a long way for sure. Yeah.
And also, where can people get these too?
Oh yeah.
So these bikes are available in certain bicycle retailers in the US, but also through REI. Okay. And backcountry.com, Competitive Cyclist. Competitive Cyclist, I should be saying, I think. Okay. But it's the same company, but they're available through those outlets. If you're looking online, then REI and backcountry.com are places to go.
Have you seen a lot of people going the online route for bicycle shopping lately? Or
I still think the best route is to go into the store and have someone sell it to you, and we're obviously available throughout the US in select retail stores, which you can see from the chargebikes.com website. We've got a dealer selector, so that's really important. I think that personal kind of touch when you get it fitted, because they obviously come in different sizes, is really important. So I would still encourage people to go into the independent bike dealers, pick the ones we've got. They'll be able to give you good advice, and what's great about them is that they provide you really good backup service, really good advice, and the ones that do sell charge know all about the product. Okay. And as I said, we've got good distribution across the US into the bicycle.
And someone's wondering, how much does this typically retail for? I don't know if there's a set price for this specific bike or.
The answer to that is the greater bikes start at $400 and go up, and this is a greater 3, I think, and I would have to get the confirmed retail price of that.
Well, while we're doing that, someone else is wondering, how fast can it go?
It can go as fast as you can go. Get yourself in a nice tucked position with some nice spandex lycra on.
The biggest hill you can find.
And you could get up to 70 miles an hour if you're quick enough.
And with that, Danielle, our coworker, is wondering if Justin could give a little test drive of the bike, if that's available.
I think we can peek out the door and see how far we can get around the office.
If we're all
go for it.
And we've got the tires are aired up and everybody's.
All right, Justin's put to the test.
Here we go. I do know how to ride a bike, unlike someone in our office.
I hope you have American health insurance.
I'm gonna start from back here.
Okay.
And more or less.
All right. We have Bridget watching you.
Oh, wait, no.
Hold that. Did I not put the pedals on? I didn't put the pedals on.
Wait.
This is
Make sure pedals.
Yeah. Actually, let's teach this lesson.
Yeah.
It's like simply thread it. Actually.
Yeah, you need a spanner really.
And someone also noticed that making you guys multitask, that the saddle looks really cool. It's like
Okay, I mean the saddle's really, really important to talk about. The saddles, charged saddles, are in the UK the highest volume of. We're number one for saddles in the UK, and it's a really, really comfortable saddle. It's actually constructed very much like a shoe, so it's very, very soft. But it wins all the tests on comfort, and it's really, really renowned really well in the UK. It's an amazing saddle.
Yeah. And with stuff like that on bike, I mean, anyone who's ridden a really cruddy bike at one point or another has dealt with the discomfort that comes with stuff.
The contact points are really important to us because that's obviously where the comfort center comes from. So it's really absolutely vital to get that right.
Yeah.
So we spend a lot more money on those areas to make sure that it's really comfortable to ride.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Now the pedals done up.
Now the pedals are on where they're
right.
supposed to be.
Do you want me to push you to 70 miles an hour?
Trading wheels.
See, this
Look
works.
at that.
That's not so bad.
Oh my god. Getting coffee so easy now.
Yeah, this works. Oh, narrow passage.
Does he make it through?
It's the obstacle course around the office today, as you can see.
You gotta avoid the ice cream
See,
cone.
this is the nice thing about having the giant office is we can do stuff like this.
And how is it riding? Do you feel?
I mean, as far as like rolling around on carpet in narrow spaces, pretty good. It's like this is actually a fairly comfortable size for me.
It's the right size, yeah.
Yeah. We planned this well.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Nick, for coming down here and having the conversation with us. I'm sure our viewers appreciated the little lessons in bike shopping today, and got a little chuckle about me riding around the office.
Well, thanks very much for having me. It's really nice to meet you. Thanks for
Likewise.
letting me come in.
All right.
See
you later, folks.
Bye.